Good morning, you warrior women. Karen McCoy here, and today we're going to talk cardio, the real deal around cardio as women over 40. So, sorry I'm a little bit late. I had a few techie issues here. I don't know, Facebook Live doesn't love me. I'm going to be turning to a new process soon, but I'm not sure I'll be able to see your comments. So hopefully I can. I don't always get to see them. So I will check in and out to see if there's any questions along the way. But let's talk cardio. Okay, so first of all, I want to say this. I am not anti-cardio. The reason I'm doing this whole video is because I had a dear friend and a former client reach out to me yesterday. She wants to chat about working together, booking a call. And she said in the email, which I'm kind of known for, I know you're anti-cardio. And what I said was, I'm actually not anti-cardio, but I put it out there as anti-cardio. And the reason for that is because the women I work with are often, well, they're women who are stuck. So they're women who want weight loss, they want body transformation, aging is taking hold in a way that they don't like, and they want to feel better, they want confidence, they want energy. They're 40, 50, 60 plus, right? I always say over 40 is where things start to change. So that's why I work with women over 40, because that is where life changes, our focus changes. Women are moving into not just wanting great physical health, but they're moving into the emotional and spiritual piece as well. And that's a big piece of what I do. We want to know, who are we? What's important to us? What is our purpose? What next, right? So we've done all the right things for 30, 40 years. We got the house, we got the kids, we got the husband, we got the career. And then life shifts, and it's supposed to shift. So I work with women. I don't like the term midlife crisis, but it seems to be that that's the way it is. And so the body transformation can't happen without an emotional transformation as well. Those are the women that I work with. And what I see in doing this for a long time is that women are still caught in the cardio rules. I'll use cardio to get in shape. I'll use cardio to lose the weight, because that's all we know. And they might dabble in weight training, or they might try some, fat burners, because that's all out there too. The fat burners and this protein and that protein. Guys, we gotta get back to basics, okay? It's really, really important. So when I'm talking cardio, to be clear, I am talking about chosen cardio where we're using a cardio machine or an elliptical or a treadmill or rowing machine, or HIIT training, which has changed. In HIIT training is not what it used to be. Now they use HIIT training, they call it, where you do a bunch of little running on the spot or something, jumping jacks in between lifting your weights. I say it's stupid. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. It makes us adult women look like little children in the gym. So I always say you've got to feather out your cardio with your weight training. They should be separate. So I'm not talking walking and hiking and biking. I actually don't see those necessarily as cardio. They're more activity, because cardio is where your heart rate is elevated to a certain level, usually above 120 beats per minute, right? We have that old-fashioned find your VMR and figure out where your fat burning zone is, and that's old, guys. It doesn't work, and it's a lot more simple than that. But I'm talking about consistent cardio where you have that focus, must do cardio, and you're trying to fit it into a weight training routine, or you don't have a weight training routine and you think that cardio is queen. So that's what I'm talking about here today. So a structured exercise and cardio is different than activity stuff. So let's get clear about that. But I want to go into also the fact that what worked in your 30s and 40s, what worked in your 30s and 20s does not work in your 40s and beyond. It just doesn't. Your body changes. It's supposed to change. We don't make it wrong. Hormonal changes are not wrong, but women look at their hormones like they detest them. Guys, they're life affirming. They gave us vitality, they gave us babies, all that stuff. They gave us a great physique, strong bones. So things do change. So I am talking about cardio in relation to perimenopause, menopausal women, which are generally late 30s through to mid to late 60s, right? It's a big spread. But that's what we're talking about today. If you have any comments, hopefully I can see them here, but I can't see them now. I just want to check. Okay. Well, sometimes the comments, I don't know what Facebook does. I can't always see them, but I will check periodically to see if there's any questions. Okay. So the first thing about focusing on cardio as a way to shape and tone and lose weight is not the best approach for perimenopausal, menopausal women. So I want to look at the basics of what it's doing against our body and against aging, and then we're going to go into something called cortisol, which is all over the news, and everybody's talking cortisol. And this is the trend now, because before that it used to be leptin and ghrelin, and before that it used to be what was the one before that? I can't even think about it. So there's always these things, and now cortisol is seen as the bad child in the playground, but it's not. We have to manage it. Okay, so first of all, if you are a woman over 40 and you're doing cardio and you're dabbling in weights, we need to turn that around. If your goals are, and here's really important, if your goals are muscle shaping, tightening and toning, strong immune system, strong metabolism, being able to recover, sleep well, all that kind of stuff. Not everybody is into the gym stuff, guys. Okay, the women I work with are, those are my clients. Those are women who want these, but you might have different goals. Again, I'm always careful about who I'm talking to, because if you're a runner, then you're going to focus on cardio and running. That's what you do. I'm not the coach for you, because I don't do running. It's not my thing. It's not what I emulate, and it's not my aging strategy. My aging strategy is the look and feel of muscle and shape and tone and tightness, and that's through weight training. So that's just to clarify that. So what happens is if we're doing cardio in absence of consistent and effective weight training, we'll talk about that. First of all, you're losing muscle. Okay, so what happens is, as our hormones change, Father Time is saying, well, your hormones are changing because you're not having babies anymore because you're getting older. This doesn't happen to men, but happens to women. You're getting older, and so we don't need all those hormones anymore because you're not going to be having babies. So we're going to lessen them in your body. And then what happens is that creates a shift in the hormonal balance. And so if we don't have the hormones, we're losing muscle, and we're also losing bone, guys, okay? So when we're doing excessive cardio, which means too much cardio, not enough weights, especially without the weight training, it can lead to muscle mass, because over the age of 40, we're losing about 15% of our muscle mass. Over the age of 50, it can be up to 35% of our muscle mass. Our muscle mass is our shape, our tone, it's our metabolism, it's our vitality and our energy, and it is the tightness or not tightness of our body, right? And we have to do structured weight training to keep it on, because it doesn't stay on. It stayed on in our 20s, it stayed on pretty easy in our 30s, and even in our 40s for many women. But coming to the end of the beginning of 40s to mid 40s, late 40s, it really enhances. That's when things change. The body is ripping muscle off because apparently we don't need it anymore. So we have to fight to keep it on. It doesn't just stay there. So again, muscle is immune system. It's our longevity. Really important that you understand that. People who have more muscle live longer, they live healthier, they have less disease, and they have stronger immune system. But they also have a stronger metabolism as well. More vitality, more sex drive, all that stuff. So the body is naturally taking it off. When we add in cardio, it is enhancing that, because it's saying, oh good, we're not going to actually touch the fat loss because we need fat to sustain, because it's a safety mechanism, and we're going to take the muscle off because you don't need it anymore. So cardio is actually drawing down the muscle. There's also a joint impact, and this is what happens as we age. Our joints lose the synovial fluid, the tendons and ligaments get tighter, they get more brittle. There is not as much love in the tendons and ligaments. We can be more prone to arthritis as well. And so cardio and high impact activities like running is actually the highest rate of injury of any sport. And it's things that it really degrades the joints in the fastest way possible. So I actually stopped running in my early 30s because I was having back issues and it was achy, and I started doing the research and I went, no, I can manage my weight with my food. I can go hiking and I can do hill climbing, and I'm going to stay with the weight. So it can impact the joints as well. It can also decrease your metabolism. So when your muscle is coming off the body, because cardio doesn't keep muscle on the body, it lowers the metabolism, because this is where you can plateau in your weight loss. And so as you get older, those plateaus can go deeper and longer, because every time you go into doing cardio, and if you add in restrictive eating, and we'll get into that a little bit, like lower calories or intermittent fasting, what happens is the body goes, oh boy, she's really challenging us. We're not getting the nutrients like we used to. So we're going to lower the metabolism, because the body wants to be able to sustain itself and lower energy output, right? So it's going to lower the metabolism, which impacts our fat loss. There's also an impact on the thyroid issue, okay, really important. And I do a lot of talk and a lot of support around strengthening the thyroid when I work with women, because there are certain foods that we need to avoid and foods we need to add in, especially as women over 40. And the thyroid is linked into all of our organs, and often the thyroid is the last to show. And that means all the other ones, the adrenals and the thymus and whatnot, are also at risk here. But that's something for your functional doctor or your endocrinologist to look at. They can do lab work around that. So the cardio can affect the thyroid hormone levels. And thyroid, of course, plays a crucial role in metabolism and overall hormonal balance, as you know. So without sufficient recovery and sufficient nutrition, it can create an intense sensitivity going into perimenopause and menopause, where we need our thyroid to be strong. And often we go through the hills and the tsunami of thyroid malfunctioning and hormonal upheavals because the thyroid's weak going in. So I always say we've got to strengthen our body, our physical body, and the organs that support good health before we head into the storm. So that's why the sooner you get there, the sooner you're doing your weight training and you're managing cardio, then the better you're going to be able to manage the hormonal storm. So they're actually doing research around women like us who have been weight training for decades, and they're seeing the difference between women who have done cardio for decades, which is like triathlons or running, which seemed to be the prescribed thing 30, 40 years ago, right? And they're now looking at the research and going, oh, that's very different. There's very different angle in aging. There's difference in recovery, in bone health, in the body physiology, all that stuff. I can't go into that today, but it's really important that you understand that. So there is, with excess cardio or cardio in absence of weight training, you're going to lose bone, because the bone is not being kept on the body. When we're weight training, it's like there's elastics on our bone, and that's that is the tendons and ligaments. So they have to be acted on and pulled on, right? So when we're doing contraction extension, for example, what happens is it's pulling on the bone, and the bone goes, oh, it's pulling, I've got to strengthen in order to maintain. If there's no pulling on the bone with adequate weight, which also relates to volume, we have to have a certain number of sets and reps. So three sets of bicep curls is not going to do it. And most women are not training at a level that's going to challenge the bone. But when it's challenged, the bone goes, oh, I've got to strengthen and grow bigger and stronger to do this. So that is why weight training is so important for bone health, guys. So let's talk cortisol. I'm just going to check, see if there's any questions. I have to do it this way because I can't see you guys. Nope, okay. So let's talk cortisol. It's really important that we understand cortisol has become the devil if you look to all the mainstream stuff, right? And so cortisol is not the devil. Cortisol is necessary for life. It is one of the hormones that is in our bodies to support this life-sustaining vessel of ours. So it serves several impacts. It's a steroid hormone produced by the adrenal glands, which sit on top of the kidneys, and it regulates various processes. And so it includes metabolism, immune response, stress management. So first of all, it regulates metabolism. So it regulates glucose, blood sugars, by stimulating glucogenesis, which is just a big word, in the liver. This ensures a steady supply of glucose for energy. It's also why we've got to keep our liver happy, guys, because liver is where all of this happens. And when we're overburdening it with shitty food, too much alcohol, too many medications, it kind of just like, it can't process everything coming into the body. So cortisol is really important for regulating metabolism and supporting the liver, but we have to support our liver as well. There is an immune response with cortisol. So the other benefit is it has anti-inflammatory properties that help regulate immune system responses to inflammation and injury. So when we have an injury, it helps to come in and help clear things out. When we're weight training, there is a stress response because we are pulling on the muscles and there is a little bit of an injury. That's why the muscles grow stronger, hence tighter, hence more shapely, when they repair. Cortisol supports that. So there is good stress and bad stress. And healthy exercise done in the appropriate amount and way is a good stress on the body, and cortisol comes in to support that and heal it. So and it also suppresses the immune system to protect it from overreacting to stress. Again, this is physical and emotional and mental stress as well. And so cortisol has stress protective abilities, right? It is known as the stress response, and so it is it's released in response to stress and helps the body cope with stressful situations. It is natural to have raised cortisol when you think your kid might be in trouble or you've had a death in the family. That is how the body copes, guys. It's not negative. The challenge is people will go and get their cortisol tested and cortisol goes up and down all the time. But if you get it on an up, then often what happens is the practitioner goes, uh-oh, alarm bells, you have high cortisol. In that moment, you might have high cortisol, and it might be necessary to get you back into homeostasis, which is balance, either physically or emotionally. But in our culture, there's this fear-mongering around cortisol, and now everybody's trying to get their cortisol down. Okay, so please be very careful with that. I don't have an answer to it because it goes all over the place, and it's supposed to be higher. It's often higher in the morning when you wake up, because it needs to be, because you're waking up and it's getting everything going, right? Cortisol also helps to maintain blood pressure. So it regulates the balance of salt and water in the body. Really super important, okay? When cortisol goes awry is when it is elevated too long for the wrong reasons. And this is what can happen with excessive cardio. What's excessive cardio? You know, it's different for everybody. If nobody's done cardio and they're doing cardio 3 times a week, it could be excessive because of where they came from, not doing any. It can be excessive. It's excessive when we go into show. Sometimes we do. I didn't do that much cardio. I learned how not to. But sometimes you're doing 5, 6, even 7 days of cardio. That is a real stress, but it's not necessarily something we keep up after show. But some women will live like that, doing cardio every day. Is it 20 minutes? Is it 30 minutes? Is it an hour? Again, it depends on your body, but be wary that cardio creates a sympathetic nervous system activation. So what that is, this is the SNS, if you want to call it that, sympathetic nervous system, is responsible for the fight and flight response, right? Which includes releasing stress hormones like cortisol and insulin. And if you do too much of it, there's too much cortisol and cortisol and adrenaline. There's too much cortisol and too much adrenaline in the body. And this can weaken the vessel, the system. It can also cause you to cannibalize your muscle, which actually means you're eating your muscles up. Again, creating faster aging because you're losing your muscle already, and then you're adding cardio in and you're enhancing cortisol's muscle eating effect, right? Because you're not weight training. There's also an impact on the hormones, and so we're already in hormonal fluctuations when we're moving into perimenopause, which is any time around the late 30s. In the 40s was a big time when I felt it, and so it creates a chronic sympathetic state where we've got elevated levels of adrenaline and cortisol, like I've mentioned, and when we're already in hormonal fluctuations, it can enhance these imbalances even more in the body. It can also add into anxiety, irritability, sleep disturbances, depression. So a lot of women moving through hormones, they feel that for sure, but it can be enhanced by cardio, right? So we need to, again, look at cardio and look at it as using it judiciously, carefully. I would rather women lessen cardio, manage their food, and add in weight training, because that creates a homeostasis in the body, a balance in the body, because when you have cutting calories, when you're doing intermittent fasting, when you're going low carb, you are creating a stress response in the body, but you're already in a stress fluctuation because your hormones are changing. So it doesn't level you out. It makes it more intense. So you're fighting a good fight, but you're swimming upstream here, right? And there's also an impact on bone health. So when we're losing estrogen, which is what happens, we're losing progesterone, we're losing estrogen through the aging process, and estrogen is bone supporting, it's bone saving. And this is where a lot of women have health issues, increase in Alzheimer's, and bone fractures or breaks that happen easier because we're losing estrogen. And so you guys know that I'm a big proponent of bioidenticals, and I did a whole video on it. It's on my YouTube channel. I show my protocol, but there's other ways of balancing hormones. That's just my choice. And I supplement with estrogen. I supplement with progesterone, but I do it through lab work, and I've done it for a lot of years. And it creates a strong, healthy body moving forward. Again, may not be your belief system, that's fine. I'm not here to change your beliefs, but I am here to say that's my belief system. And so the estrogen, the body-saving effects of estrogen is really real. So you can always look at that. I'll put the link to the episode down below this one so you can take a look at it. And if you're not supplementing with bioidenticals or HRT or your hormonal remedies or whatever choice you're doing to maintain hormones, then just know you are losing estrogen. And when you lose estrogen, you are impacting bone health. Again, adding in cardio enhances bone loss to a certain extent. And I know some people are going to go, that's not true. But when we're already in low estrogen, it can create even a lower deficit, a bigger deficit. So weight training is super important, because we all know, and you guys know, you've heard this, weight training spares bone. And we really, really need that. Weight training grows and spares bone, right? Okay. So I hope that makes sense. So as we move into perimenopause and menopause, we're already in a hormonal storm. And to add on cardio, more cardio, because the fat is coming on, because you have increased cortisol, because you're not managing your stress, which also I'm a big proponent of mindset. We all have stresses in life, guys, but we have to learn to manage it and look at it and change the story. Because the stress of the thinking in our brain creates stress chemicals in our body, which can impact our health, our longevity, and also it can release more adrenaline, more cortisol, the stress hormones that we don't want. And so much of that is tied to how we view the world, what our response is to challenge. And when we shift the way we look at things, the things we look at shift. We all have challenges, guys. Everybody does. But the person who is living consciously and mindfully and in the present and learns that the external world and what happens out there does not have an impact on me, it really is about how we're viewing that and we're taking it on. You can't. You simply can't. 80% of what I do is mindset. When women work with me, yeah, we do individualized food plans. Of course, we do individualized workout plans. And we have a lot of coaching and accountability and check-in, and we build them up from that place. But the mindset piece is the bigger piece, because it is the mindset that stops you in your health regime. It's the mindset that says, I'm not committed and I don't have motivation. It's the mindset that says, I can't afford it, or we can go into other unconscious fears. Fear of success. Who am I to have a sexy, lean body? Fear of failure. Well, I've done this before and many, many times. I'm going to fail. Well, no, it's just because that strategy, you've proven to yourself 30 times that it hasn't worked. There is another strategy to be had, guys. That's all it is. You just don't know what you don't know. And you kept doing the same thing, right? You were kind of on remote control. No doubt you're listening to mainstream, because mainstream doesn't have it right. So I want to just take a look at a few things that I really, really want you to understand, okay? Intermittent fasting. I know, there's going to be women saying, well, it works for me. That's fine. But we need a consistent level of food in our system to manage cortisol levels, stabilize blood sugars, and be able to feed our muscles and be able to manage our macronutrients. And this is really important over 40. And to tell you the truth, I don't want just an 8-hour window of eating. I want to enjoy my life. I want to go out for dinner with my friends every now and again. I don't want to have to be hyper-focused on food, which a lot of women are. We are not supposed to be food obsessed, guys. Dieting and trends make you focus on, oh, I got to put it into my app. I got to get all the macro percentages right. Do you want to live like that? And so what I teach is an intuitive and flow to our food, where we get the hunger cues, we eat our food, we know what to eat, and then we put it to bed. And we don't fuss and worry about it. We're not in resistance or control over food. A lot of people over control or under control. And I see intermittent fasting as that. It has that susceptibility. Now, for some women, they say, oh, I can't eat till noon, but they'll train in the morning. Again, I'm not here to argue about this, guys, but this is what I know as a research-based gal, as having been a coach for over 30 years and following my own body and hundreds, maybe thousands of female bodies by now through coaching. When you're training in the gym with weights, there is no fuel in the morning if you haven't eaten breakfast. There's no fuel. So what's it going to call on? It's not calling on fat stores. You've already fasted all night long by not eating. And then you're going in and you're asking the body, I want to build muscle now. And I want to lose fat, but I'm not going to eat, but I'm going to lift heavy. And the body's going, well, you're kind of doing it like total opposite to what we need. And what I've done with some women is they've been really adamant about it, because there's still this fear. There's still this, I gotta train fasted because I'm gonna lose more muscle, or I'm gonna lose more fat. You're gonna lose more muscle. And I learned that in one of my shows. So I always say everything I've learned is through the experience of my own body and the stupid things that I've done and the healthy things that I've done. And there's a lot of research. I'm big into research, but the research is lagging behind big time. Trends and Google searches is not real research, guys. Okay, and that is what's leading women astray for sure. So what I challenge some women to do is to, okay, you've had so many years of doing fasting and train fasted. Now I want you to eat and let it sit for like an hour or two, depending on what they've eaten, and then go train and tell me if there's a difference. Always there's a difference. Always. You've got to feed your body to lose weight, to lose fat, okay? So this leads me into the second thing. Stop the low-carb diets, okay? The low-carb diets increase stress on the menopausal body. It adds to this chronic sympathetic state where the body is under stress already with hormones, and then you've got low carb And don't tell me you're no carb because it's impossible. You'll probably die, or you're going to go do a binge, because low carbers and ketos are known for their binges. I've trained a lot of them, and I've seen them at 2 a.m. through the drive-thru, so that's always an interesting thing. And you're not keto and low carb if you have these binges, right? Because it throws all the good stuff that you think you're getting out the window. But we need carbs to maintain a strong metabolism, to lose fat and build muscle, guys. We need carbs for recovery, for immune system, to stay healthy, and also to be able to sleep well. So again, I did a whole thing on my YouTube channel. What is low carb? It depends. A lot of people who are doing low carb are just cutting out shitty carbs, which I agree with, right? And they're saying they're low carb. So I always say, well, how many grams are you eating? And I usually get, I don't know. Well, how do you know it's low carb? And what's low carb for you? Low carb for one person could be 80 grams. Low carb for another person could be 120, right? So if you're just cutting out the shitty foods, I applaud you. That's great. That's what we need to do. We all know the man-made processed carbs. You guys know it by now. We need the carbohydrates, the potatoes, the rice. Yes, I even eat white rice. Pasta once in a while, only because if I eat it too much, I get sleepy. The vegetables for sure. Oatmeal, I love my oatmeal. Couscous, all of that kind of stuff. Those are the healthy carbs. And we need them, but we need to be respectful and mindful of them. So again, when I do individualized food plans, it's not just about handing you something. It's about looking where you're at. What's your experience? What's your diet history? How old are you? What are your goals? Everything matters. What is your cultural background? All of that matters. And then I have women take pictures of their food over a couple days. I want pictures. Don't just tell me. I need to see. Then I can figure out your metabolism, where it's working, where it needs to shift, what your macronutrients are, how that needs to shift, because we need to look at proper protein, carbs, and fat percentages for women over 40, which is different than when you were in your 20s and 30s for sure. So please be careful with the low carb thing. Number 3, stop high intensity cardio stuff, boot campy stuff, all that kind of stuff. Because again, it's going to increase the stress in the body. It's going to increase cortisol levels in a body that's already struggling in stress and fluctuations because you're in perimenopause, right? Stop dieting. Please stop dieting and focusing on calorie restriction. You are in a prison. The more you lower your calories, the more the body's going to compensate and lower its metabolism and lower the ability to lose fat. Then you add cardio on, it's going to downplay it even more, right? There was a lady, and I'll just share this story. It's a wife of a friend of mine, and we were chatting. This was a couple years ago, but it's a perfect example of how the body compensates, because it needs to compensate in response to the input that you're bringing forward, and it thinks it's doing the best for you when it might not be. So he was saying, my wife is a runner. She runs every day, and the challenge is, excuse me, the challenge is if she stops running, she gains weight. That's why. Because she's taught her body the only way to keep weight off is to run 5, 6, 7 days a week. And when she stops, the body is going to overcompensate and go, thank God, we need nourishment. I'm going to make 100 calories like 300 calories. It's the body's wisdom, guys. And so what she needed to do was add in weight training and start to lessen her reliance on cardio. And she would see a very different body, an enhanced metabolism, stronger immune system, and nice shape and tone. Because she was actually running because she wanted shape and tone, and she was losing it as she ages. So I just want you to keep that story in mind, right? So here's what I want you to consider: major in weight training, minor in cardio. When I talk weight training, I'm talking at least 3 times a week, at least 40 minutes at a time, and that's not including warm up and stretching. But my women are doing 4 to 5. I train 5 to 6 days. And at this age, because I'm in my 60s, at this age, I can't not weight train 4 to 5 times, because the body is wanting to take the muscle off fast. Even if I take, and I don't take summers off, but I took summers off years ago, whoa, my body really lost the muscle fast, because that's what's happening as we age. That's the aging process, guys. So we constantly have to be reinventing ourselves at this age. So if you're not, we can't just get there and stay there. I always say I'm still building, because I'm building muscle in the gym to maintain it. That's just the way it goes. So I hope this was clear for you guys. There's a lot of information here, I know. If you have any questions, put them under the video. I'm happy to answer them. Please go to, on this page under our banner picture, there's the tabs, there's guides. Go to guides, and you're going to see 2 different sections. The first section under guides has like 10 videos in there, and they're all free for you, and they're all geared towards what I'm talking about today. There's one in there called the 4 food rules. Please watch that. There are a couple on metabolism. There's a lot more videos on everything geared towards women over 40 that's not out there in mainstream, because it's not getting out and it doesn't sell product. And it's on my YouTube channel, Karen McCoy Fitness. And go there, and I will put up the link on the hormone video that I did a couple of weeks ago, which got a lot of views. Really important that you understand the hormonal fluctuations. But I do hope that this helped you to understand cardio, use it judiciously, major in weights, minor in cardio, and you are going to shift your metabolism. You're going to shift how your body uses fuel, and you will drop fat, and you will build shapely muscle, and you will have strong immune system, strong metabolism, a lovely shapely body, lots of energy moving forward into the sunset of your life. Okay, you guys, gotta fly. Lots of love to you. Okay. Ciao.